Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Chisme Chronicles podcast.
Episode 43.
We are back with some banger stories. My name is Roman. This is Kaylee the Bandit.
Legal government name.
Yeah. And you tell them what we do, Kaylee. I don't even remember. It's been so long.
So on this podcast, we do a lot of Am I the A-hole Reddit content. Sometimes every week. We post on Tuesdays and Thursdays. We always kind of yeah. We blind react to each other's stories. Every once in a while, we'll venture onto other subreddits. Like today, I effed up, but always kind of reading stories and giving our takes, best takes on the internet, of course.
Yeah. So if you guys like Am I the A-hole content, we hope that you'll subscribe and help us get to 500.
Maybe by the end of the year.
Maybe.
Possibly.
Maybe. We need all your help.
We're so close.
We need about 65. We're 140. We're at 445. I'm proud of every single one of those subscribers. I'm proud of every single one of those subscribers.
But yeah, so 2 stories each always. We always give blind react to each other's stories, give hot takes.
I'm going to start off with a banger.
Okay.
But I don't even know how I feel about it, though. But here we go. Ready? Am I the a-hole for wanting to choose the guests in my own birthday? I have a 14-year-old daughter with my ex. My ex and I agreed to be child-free. However, she got pregnant and despite our agreement, chose to keep it. That's why we broke up, and I made it clear that I will continue to be child-free. However, I will give child support until she gets married and has a husband who is willing to adopt the kid, and then I will sign my rights away. She agreed. My family, however, wanted to be involved in her life. I told my family that I don't want to be anywhere near her. I think this is the best for both of us. They chose her over me and stopped inviting me if she was invited. It meant that about 90% of the time she would be invited and I was invited to about 10%, which is fine. I don't care. However, recently they have started inviting her everywhere. Last night it was my birthday, surprise party from my parents, and she was also invited. I don't know why she came because she very clearly dislikes me. She was sitting in the middle of the room making snarky comments. At one point, I told her that I will get a taxi for her so she can leave. She told me that I should be the one to leave because no one wants you here anyway, and my siblings laughed at her. At this point, I just left, and now everyone thinks I'm an asshole and rude for leaving like that. But it's my damn party. Shouldn't I be allowed to choose the guests? And then it says, edit. Just because everyone seems confused. The kid is the one who came to the party. I'm talking about her in my post. I'm not talking about my ex.
Oh, I didn't get that either. His own child is the one that came to the party? His biological child.
Yes, so...
And that's who he's offering to kick out.
Yes, but... Well, by what you're saying, it sounds like we might have different opinions.
No. I don't know how I feel about it either.
Okay.
I was just clarifying because...
Yes.
Ooh.
His girlfriend, whatever,
ex-girlfriend,
got pregnant.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm keeping it. He's like, fine, but I don't want to be involved.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pay child support until you find another person to be with.
Yeah.
Or you get married or whatever.
Yeah.
The parents or his family, he's like, well, we want her to be in our lives. Mm-hmm. Or we want to be in her lives.
Yeah. So now she's like, older. Obviously,
well, she's 14 years old.
Yeah.
She's 14. So he's like, I don't want to be. I told my family that I don't want to be anywhere near her. I think this is the best for both of us. They chose her over me and stopped inviting me if she was invited. So, but 90% of the time, they're inviting their grandchild, and then they don't invite him because they don't want to be. He doesn't want to be around her. Mm-hmm. And now they're inviting her everywhere. Mm-hmm. So then at his birthday party, that the parents threw a surprise birthday party, mm-hmm. they still invited his daughter.
Yeah.
And then so she's sitting there like saying like snarky comments, and he's like, I'll get you a taxi so you can leave. And she's like, you need to leave because clearly no one wants you here. Mm-hmm. So then
his own birthday party.
So then he's like, okay, well, I'm out of here. And so he left.
The grandparents are the assholes.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. So the only thing that I can kind of think about him, I kind of could see like everyone sucks, but at the same time, because you could say, oh, everybody kind of sucks here. Like, you know, the parents suck for what they did. Not the the daughter is like, you're 14 years old. Like, you can't be, you know what I mean? Like, the trauma that she's dealing with of like that's my dad and he doesn't want me.
He's abandoned me, but I'm around him all the time.
Exactly. So I hate him because he doesn't want me.
Yeah.
So that person's innocent.
Yeah.
And that whole freaking horrible situation.
Yeah.
The parents, though, like I feel like I could kind of agree with anyone that might say that he also sucks for what he did. For like, oh, you should have been, you're the adult. You need to be mature.
The grandparents, you're saying?
No. I'm saying that someone might say the grandparents suck and he also sucks because he shouldn't have left or blah, 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 blah. Because like you're the adult, you know, like the kid is going through trauma. But like, you don't think he's going through some horrible stuff too? He's like, look, I don't want to be a dad.
This is the best for both of us. That's what he keeps clarifying. Like, I don't want to be around her because then also she's going to start seeing me like a dad.
Or maybe not. Yes, that could be the case. Or maybe, or just not, like I'm not her dad. Like I'm her biological father whom she hates. It's like, well, I don't want to see, like, I'm not trying to have any kind of connection with her. It's like giving somebody up. It's like people that say, because there could be people that that might be like, well, how dare he? He's a dad. Okay. Well, if you think that people can choose to give up their kids for adoption, and that's okay, then this is like kind of his version of saying, hey, I'm going to support my ex-partner, but I don't want to be around the child. I don't want to be kind of almost reminded. I don't want to have anything there. And I think it's wild that the parents or his family they're like, oh, well, we want to be in her life. You know, we want to be in her life. But like they needed to respect him. He's like, because this is how I see it. I see it as like an adoption thing, not as like, hey, you and her were together. You guys had a kid. The kid is, you know, you guys got divorced when the kid was 2 years old.
Like actual abandonment. You know what I mean? Like it feels like, you know, like this was a decision that they made together before the kid was even born.
Exactly.
It's not like she was born and he was like, okay, I'm out.
Exactly. So in that scenario, it's like if I had a sibling or whatever that, you know, was married or was together at some point, they had a kid, it didn't work out, and you know, when the kid was, you know, whatever, 3 years old or something, and my brother's like, well, I don't want to, you know, or this hypothetical brother or sister is like, I don't want anything to do with him. I'm like, I want to, like, I'm not going to all of a sudden bail out on this kid that's 3 years old.
I already know them. I already love them. Yeah.
But if it's like, look, I got somebody pregnant, I don't want anything to do with it. Like, I'm just like, basically I'm giving up my parental rights. I think it's crazy that the family is then reaching out and bringing that, because like now the kid is involved in the family. Now there's, I just feel like that's horrible. Like it's horrible that they did, like
the grandparents
they kind of went around
100%.
Went around him, and then like, now, oh, come over, and then she's like, oh, I'm with my grandparents. Oh, but my dad's not here because he didn't want me. And then when he does come around, and then like that whole kind of like,
of course she's gonna hate him.
And he's like, dude, I wasn't trying to cultivate any relationship. I just wanted to. She wanted to keep the kid. Okay, cool. I'm gonna pay child support until you
figure out
until the kid's 18 or figure out another situation. Like I'm gonna be.
It also sucks because like obviously they kept talking to like the ex. Obviously too, because like now the girl's 14, now they can probably text her or whatever, but you know, I assume that they've been seeing this child since the time she was born.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so it's like,
I'm sure.
It also feels like it's like when, you know, like, and I've only read about situations like this, but it's like if you're in a long-term relationship, whatever, and you break up with your partner, but then your family's like, oh, but we love them so much, so like they're still invited to Thanksgiving. It's like, no, like what, like there's no boundaries here. Are you kidding me? This was my person that I brought into the circle. They're no longer in my circle. Please respect that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, how do I? Like, I feel like I agree with that, but then like for a second, I'm like, wait a second. Because if you were married with someone, and you had kids and then you got divorced and stuff, well, like, you know, let's just say my wife, you know, well, my parents are still going to they're still going to have a friendship with her. They're still going to like.
But I don't feel like you don't invite them to Thanksgiving. You know what I mean? In this example that I
just provided. Yeah. Maybe you know, you like.
You're cordial. you talk, you know what I mean? But like,
yeah, you're right.
Are you like, would you not be, for example, obviously horrible situation, fake wife that you've previously been divorced with, you know what I mean? To not like get it involved. Like, would you not be really uncomfortable if, say, now you're married to my tia, your wife, and then you go over and it's like, oh yeah, you know, your parents are like, oh yeah, we had your ex-wife over last week for dinner.
No, I wouldn't trip out about that.
You wouldn't?
No, because that's their decision to have their own relationship with them. Yeah. But if they were bringing them into like,
but like bringing, I don't know.
No, I'm saying I agree with the Thanksgiving thing.
Yeah.
It's because I forgot, like, obviously the kids are gonna go over, but I was thinking like a whole package thing. Like I imagine my wife going with the kids over, like, you know, she's probably gonna go drop them off, say hi, and and then leave or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
Because like I'm there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so, but as far as like if my wife and I got divorced for whatever reason and my parents are like, oh, come over with the girls, we want to see you guys and the girls and whatever, I wouldn't feel any way like, oh, they invited her and they were here. Okay. That's like, I can't tell them to not be friends.
Yeah.
But like if we're doing but then if it's our family, Christmas or Thanksgiving, then I'm like, okay, well, don't bring them here. I'm not trying to hang out with them. You know, if that's how our relationship ended up being.
Yeah, I guess
some people could be really friendly and be totally okay. You know,
yeah.
My friend's parents, they were divorced and they could totally be in, you know, they could still share holidays and they were totally fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just thought it was like crazy that
ultimately the grandparents are the ultimate a-holes. Like it's a really like shitty and rough situation for, you know, the other parties involved, the dad and the child or whatever. Like I feel like you can't be super upset with either of them, in my opinion.
With who?
With the dad or the child.
No, I'm not. I don't think the child's doing anything wrong. They're doing what a 14-year-old kid would be doing when they're going through something like that.
I don't even think the dad did anything super wrong either. You know what I mean? Like I think it's just a hard situation to navigate. Yeah. But the grandparents are the a-holes.
Because I think that like now obviously I don't agree with the guy's decision, right? I don't agree with him saying I don't want to be part of the kid's life. But I don't, what am I trying to say here? What I'm trying to say is that, it's because I'm just thinking about what other people are going to say, you know? That's so wrong. He shouldn't have done that. But like, I can see a lot of people thinking about the daughter and the family's feelings of them. They just wanted to know the daughter, right? I can see that. I can see people thinking more about the family and the daughter, like, oh, they need to have a relationship, and kind of like dismissing what the guy is feeling. And I want to give credit to what he's feeling and saying like that was so messed up because he didn't want to have the relationship to begin with. It's like if you give your kid up for adoption, some people will regret it, obviously, but some people are like, look, I don't want to be connected anymore. And then it's like, oh, we found him, by the way. And then you bring him around. Yeah. It's like, oh, what you know what I mean? Like, what the hell? Now you're forcing me to have a relationship with someone that I gave up. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I think.
That sound you made right now was so good.
Yeah, I think that I could just imagine what he's feeling and just being like, I'm out of here. I'm so done with this situation.
Yeah. I mean, even if they are going to continue to decide to have a relationship with her or whatever, I think that's a shitty enough decision. But then at least to put the boundary of like only inviting her or him was good on their part, on the grandparents' part. But then obviously if you invite her to his birthday party, it's just.
Yeah,
you're crossing so many lines.
They're not respecting any of his boundaries.
Yeah, like you've crossed like the last line. Like you already crossed all the other ones, and this was like the final. Yeah. You know, the final boundary that you chose to uphold, and you didn't.
Like I feel like what the grandparents are doing is so. I feel like that's more damaging than just knowing that you have a dad. He didn't want to be part of your life, and now you're growing up with me, your mom, that I'm taking care of you. And then it's like that's a shitty situation, but I feel like at least there isn't this ongoing rejection, feeling of rejection.
Yeah,
like
100%.
obviously they might deal with the feeling of rejection for their whole lives until go through therapy or whatever.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what that is, but definitely you're gonna feel rejected when your dad's telling you, "Want me to get you a cab so you can leave?"
Mm-hmm.
Or like, you go to the family a party and your dad's over there. He's like, well, he doesn't even talk to me or say hi to me.
Like you're hyper aware of like his existence and his whatever, however he's doing,
and not wanting to
he's actively not wanting to like be part of your life.
Yeah, I feel like the grandparents are making more of a mistake.
They're horrible.
I feel like no one's gonna agree with that though.
I don't know. We'll see what they say.
Yeah, I mean, people. There were comments, saying like that he was not the a-hole.
Yeah.
Or that in that specific situation, everyone sucked.
Mm-hmm.
What happened in that night, but that he was not the a-hole.
Obviously, I haven't read that story because, like, obviously, like I said, we blind react or whatever. But my gut feeling is that people are overlooking the role the grandparents are playing.
That's what I feel too. Yeah. I feel like a lot of people.
It's like, oh, does the daughter suck or does the guy suck? And that's what makes it so complicated. And it's like, no. This is not, the true, they're not the actual problem here. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Ready for story number 2?
Yep.
Okay. Am I the a-hole for nuking my niece's social media accounts? So a couple of weeks ago, I, 35 male, had a sister, 39 female, and her family, including my niece, 11 female, over for a barbecue. We had a pretty good time, with the exception of my niece was pretty much constantly on her phone recording TikToks. Slightly annoying, but ultimately not my kid, not my problem. I've talked to my sister a while ago about being careful what my niece is putting online, protecting her identity, etc. My sister brushed it off, saying that my niece was sensible enough to not do anything stupid. I figured I'd try and bridge the gap, so I asked my niece what she's recording. It's a TikTok. You're old. You wouldn't get it. I work in tech, so it's not like I don't understand what I'm talking about, but I decide to let it slide and do some digging later. Turns out my niece has used her full government name to register for TikTok, with links to her public Instagram with the same name. So I did what any reasonable parent would do. Reported everything for being under 13. Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, everything I could find. With the nature of TikTok trends, some of the stuff that was out there 11-year-olds probably shouldn't be doing, and definitely shouldn't be recording. Fast forward to today. My sister calls me to ask if I can have a look at my niece's iPad. Apparently she can't log into any of her accounts and she's having a meltdown about it. I talked her through it, and it quickly becomes apparent that the accounts are blocked and asking for ID. I'm in two minds about whether to tell her it was me that reported the account or just tell her to submit the ID knowing that my niece would get permanently banned. Permabanned. So, am I the a-hole for nuking my niece's social media accounts? And basically, he does have like an edit that just says like, whatever, thanking people for the advice. And then it says there were a couple of bits a few people mentioned, so I'll add them here rather than copy and paste. You banned her government name so she can use a pseudonym. Good. It's one less thing people will have to track her down, and one less thing someone can hold over her if something goes wrong. I'm not stupid enough to think this will stop her, but maybe she'll start to understand that she needs to be smarter about it. She's not your kid to parent, so you should have spoken to her mom about it. True, and one of the reasons I questioned if I was the a-hole. My sister is great in many ways, but tech isn't one of them, and I tried it the reasonable way. I probably overstepped, but I don't think removing someone from a dangerous situation is a problem. And the third one was, you're invading her privacy. And he said, she's 11, posting stuff publicly under her government name. If you think that constitutes privacy, I don't know what to tell you.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, I don't think he's invading her privacy.
No, not invading her privacy. No,
yeah,
it's all public.
Damn. I don't know. I feel like... I mean, if things are under 18, if they're under 13, they're under 13. Anybody can report it. Yeah. You know what I mean? Anyone can report it. And at that point, it's like, well, also, what's the difference between you and somebody else?
If people are watching that, they're not going to report it. An 11-year-old, you know what I mean? They're not. They don't want to report it. So
well, I mean, who knows what they were? Yeah, she was recording too. I mean, it could be.
Yeah, but I mean, you look at TikTok trends and stuff, and it's like, I don't know. I'm glad he did it. I don't know if I'm glad he did it. At the end of the day.
I feel like people. It's not. I don't. Like, I could be scrolling and then something will come over like it's just a whatever trend is. I have no idea whatever anything, right? And it's like, oh, that's like little kids doing that. I could report that, but like, or I'm just like, oh, I don't care about this, and then I go on to the next thing.
100%. But you know, I don't know. Like, I'm glad he did it because obviously you know how TikTok is, and it's like, you know, obviously like if somebody is scrolling and it's like, oh, there's little kids doing that, and then they go interact, it's gonna show you more and more until you go like, hey, I don't like this. But obviously some people aren't gonna not like it. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know. I'm glad he did it. I'm glad he's like more like internet literate.
Yeah.
I don't know if the mom is the a-hole or if she's just dumb, because like I feel like a lot of times, like, okay, growing up for me was like the internet was brand spanking new. I grew up in like the golden age of absolutely no limits. Like there was nothing moderated by anybody on any website. You know what I mean? So it's like my parents straight up didn't understand that like me having full access to the internet was a horrible idea. And they were just like, oh, I trust her, which is like what this mom is saying. And it's like, yeah, I wasn't like, you know, not trustworthy, but I was 10 years old with full internet access, and like I didn't have full control over what even was coming on my feeds. You know what I mean? So it's like, you can't just be like, oh, I trust them, they're responsible. It's like,
well, in your feeds, so okay, when you say feeds, I mean we're talking about what year here?
We're talking 2012.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? Like there was nothing was moderated. Like I saw vile, horrible stuff every day, and it was just like part of being on the internet at that time. And even now, it's like, okay, like obviously this is a different situation. This is a little girl that's posting herself everywhere. Like, oh man, like you just don't know what people use the internet for, you know?
Yeah.
And like obviously she's naive. You know what I mean? She's 11. She doesn't get it.
But I feel so. Yeah, I don't think he's the a-hole.
I don't think he's the a-hole.
I mean, the mom is not necessarily like, oh, you did an a-hole thing, but it is a little bit of like, well, you should be paying attention to what your kids are doing. Yeah. And at least, you're gonna be on the internet. Okay, well, let me see what this is about. What's on here? You could YouTube it like so quickly. Like, what are the dangers of blah blah blah? Or should I let my 11-year-old, like, if you don't know, you can't just be like, well, I don't know. I guess it's fine. I trust her. Yeah, exactly. You can't just do that.
She's dumb.
Yeah, yeah. So I feel like, you know, she's just a little bit not. She's just not parenting too good. Yeah. For just allowing them to do whatever. Like, honestly, I'm not gonna let my kids have a cell phone until they're, I don't know what age. Yeah. Like, definitely not like 11, 12. Yeah. Maybe I feel like 13. That's a
new thing that, like, because obviously, like, you know, whatever, a lot of like people that are like newer parents now,
because it's so available.
Yeah. But I know like, what you throw an iPad at your kid or whatever.
When and then, yeah. I was gonna, when you got a phone. Yeah. You might have been 11. But in that time, all of the things that exist, apps, didn't like fully exist when you were 11 years old.
They did.
Like, they were Instagram came out like in 2013 or something.
I would yeah. By the time I had a phone, the first thing I downloaded was Instagram.
When you were 11?
The very first thing that I downloaded was Instagram.
Okay, then I take that back then.
Yeah, well, because I would have been like whatever. It would have been 2013. You know, like.
But you were what, like 12?
In 2013, yeah. I was 11.
11. Okay. Yeah. That's right. Like I said.
Yeah. So it's like that would have been that was the very, very first thing I downloaded. You know what I mean? And then it's like, okay. And then I got on like Tumblr and I got on Reddit, and it was like those things were not moderated, you know? Yeah. And it's like now at least we have like, you know, like TikTok is moderated. So one person reported it and it got noticed. You know what I mean? But like, I don't know. Like, how long has she been posting? Like, because obviously he's saying that it's like semi-questionable stuff. You know what I mean? Like, how
he said that?
That was one of the first things he said. He said, hold on. Full government name to TikTok. Da da da. You didn't get it. Hold on.
Yeah, because I didn't pick up on that. What she was posting was kind of questionable.
That was why I was harping so much about the people like.
That's why I was like, I didn't pick that up, so that's why I didn't agree with what you were saying, with like what you were kind of getting at.
Yeah, hold on. I have to like reread the entire thing. Where is it?
I'm gonna be right again, like I always am. Do 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 do. She's trying so hard, guys.
No, hold on. Because he said the thing about like, hold on. Why can I not find it? Over for barbecue, pretty good time. Da da da.
Take your time.
Ah!
I swear it's not there.
Links to public Instagram. Reasonable. Okay, yeah. With the nature of TikTok trends, some of the stuff on there was stuff 11-year-olds probably shouldn't be doing and definitely shouldn't be recording.
Oh, some of the stuff
on her account.
Hey.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. That was why I was harping on that a little bit.
I thought he was saying like the stuff that's on TikTok some of the stuff that exists on TikTok. Yeah. You said on her account?
Yeah.
I'm all like, I don't know.
That was the full
Let's look at the
context.
verbiage here. No,
Okay.
but I mean, I believe.
Yeah, he was talking about her account with links to her public accounts, and with the nature of TikTok trends, some of the stuff on there was
okay.
So
I gotcha. I agree.
Because it's one thing. Like it was one thing if he's just being like kind of petty and like an a-hole, and she's like lip syncing. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, this looks dumb, so I want to ban her. You know what I mean? Like let her flirt with her 13-year-old.
Yeah,
friends.
if it was stuff like that, it's like, oh, okay, yeah. So even more now.
100%, not the a-hole. Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Star number 3. Am I the a-hole for wearing my wedding ring to my sister's wedding against her wishes and hijacking her night? My sister, 29 female, got married last Saturday. The ceremony was beautiful and I enjoyed myself as much as someone who is famously not a wedding guy could. The dramatics were not quite as enjoyable. I, 27 male, hadn't seen my family in a few months, and we've only had a handful of phone calls over the course of those months. It's never on purpose that I pull one of these disappearing acts. It's mostly out of habit. I've been fiercely independent for most of my life, and I easily get caught up in whatever I'm doing at the time. That makes it hard for me to remember to keep those not in my direct line of sight in the loop. My mother is the same way. It's also nice visiting around those times when big events like this are going on, as my mom is prone to hovering whenever I'm home, and it takes some of the spotlight off of me. I had been in Ireland around 8 months prior to flying in last Thursday. I was originally there to spend 2 weeks with my best friend who, thanks to the aforementioned one-track mindness I possess, I had unfortunately grown apart from within recent years. Ours was a friendship that had started since we were 14 and was one of the most important relationships in my life for over a decade. And I wanted to put more effort into it so I didn't lose it. He was spending time overseas as to reconnect with his heritage since his father's passing. I was already traveling and my stay obviously turned out to be a lot longer than 2 weeks. It also turned into us getting married. Funny how life works out. About 2 weeks before our trip to the States for my sister's wedding, I sent out a mass email to close family, letting them know that me and my husband were married. I wanted to massage any possibility of us stealing any thunder right from the get-go. My mom replied that she was hurt that she wasn't told sooner or allowed to be there, which I understood. It seemed her mood flipped by the time we met in person, however. Rehearsal dinner was on Friday, and that was where we all met up for the first time. My mom was overjoyed to see me and my partner and spent a large part of the night telling stories about she had always predicted there was something different about my relationship with him compared to others I was close with in high school. It was a very sweet moment, but at the end of the night, my sister pulled me aside and asked if we would not wear our wedding rings to her ceremony. I was confused, so I asked why. She said I was taking the attention off of her, and she was already bitter that it's just kind of worded weird. She was already bitter than I was hijacked her rehearsal dinner. More family might take notice if I wore my ring tomorrow and cause a similar incident. I refused. Like I mentioned before, the ceremony was beautiful, but she didn't speak to me for the rest of the weekend, and we ended up leaving the reception early. Am I the a-hole?
So absolutely not.
Dude, people voted that he was.
What the heck?
Yeah, that's how I was like what? Like I was, I feel like it's like the story was like not super like dramatic, but I was just surprised that people said that you were the a-hole.
Yeah, that feels like
how does that make any sense?
I don't know, because I'm trying to think of like, okay, like any other situation where like I'm trying to think about like another situation where you might try and control what somebody wears to your wedding. Right. And it's like, I'm trying to think of like, can you imagine asking like somebody not to wear a certain dress, but like putting aside like the white thing, right? Like obviously you can tell somebody don't wear a white dress. You know what I mean? But it's like, I'm trying to think, can you like, like if you knew somebody was going to wear like if you had like a nice wedding, right? And you knew somebody was going to wear like a super skimpy dress or something, like, can you imagine asking them not to wear that? And I'm like, well, maybe.
Yeah, but like I feel like that's nothing to do with you wearing a wedding ring. Like,
I'm trying to think of anywhere where you could justify like trying to control what somebody wears to your wedding.
Well, I read one story once that it was pretty good. I don't know why I never read it on the show, but one of her bridesmaids, there was something really crazy going on, like something like mental, or I don't know if her mom passed away or something, and like her favorite color. No, I don't think, because I can't remember if it was. I don't think it was her wearing a wedding dress. Also, I thought it was something like where they were all wearing red and this girl showed up wearing purple or something like that. You know, and she's like, dude, I told you not to wear the color purple because only the maid of honor was going to wear purple or something like that.
I think you didn't read that one because I think we both had read it already.
Oh, really?
So we're like, oh, it's not going to be a blind react.
Oh, yeah. Okay. And I was like, well, yeah, I mean, she should have followed the bride's rules. Like, don't wear that color.
That's different though. I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I can see reasons why you would tell someone not to wear something.
Yeah.
But like in this scenario, the guy has been away for 8 months, reconnected with his friend, they got married, whatever. Hey, by the way, I'm just letting you guys know ahead of time so that I'm not making an announcement at the rehearsal dinner, because also he flew in and like the next night was the rehearsal dinner.
Yeah.
So you fly in from freaking Ireland, you don't have any time to see your family until the rehearsal dinner.
Yeah.
You know, and then so right there, everyone's going to see it. They're going to start asking questions. Like, well, I'm not going to all of a sudden be unmarried.
Yeah. Also, it's not like they're not paying attention. Like, it's not like all the spotlight's taken away. It's probably the first, 40 minutes of the rehearsal dinner. People are asking him questions, but it's not like everybody's huddled around him ignoring you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, like, oh, you guys are married, whatever, like little conversations here on and off.
And it's tied to the fact that he was in Ireland for 8 months.
Yeah.
Oh, how did it go? And then you guys all blah, blah, blah.
Like, what, no one else is allowed to have side conversations? Like, there's just going to be little side there's going to be little side conversations about a billion things at your rehearsal dinner. That's just how like a gathering is. And the fact that your brother got married over there and now people are seeing him for the first time in 8 months, they're going to congratulate him and then they're going to move on. And it's like, well, the more family's going to see you at the wedding with the ring and they're going to want to congratulate you, and you're going to and so he's like, well, I'm going to go, but I'm not going to take my ring off. Like, I'm married now. I don't give a shit. Like, I just couldn't. I thought she was the a-hole, and I just thought it was weird that people said he was. Like, okay. Sometimes those verdicts, especially like I feel like on smaller posts where they don't get like as much attention, those verdicts are so dumb.
Dude, but it was a big one. It got 10,600 upvotes.
Oh my gosh.
Like, I thought it was a big one, and people were saying, anyway.
Okay, last one of the night. Am I the a-hole for punishing my 16-year-old stepdaughter after we found out she was bullying a kid for being poor? Hi Reddit, about 2 months ago, my wife, 38 female, and I, 41 male, learned that my stepdaughter, 16 female, was bullying a girl at school over being poor, getting free lunches at school, and not being able to afford necessities such as her own car and stuff. Our daughter was kind of spoiled. We provided her with everything she needed. We provided her with everything she needed along with an allowance and a part-time job at my company, a small family service business. We've been considered middle class, doing things others weren't as privileged to do, such as buying our daughter a car on her 16th birthday. I come from a family of immigrants and was considered to be in poverty growing up. We learned about the bullying, and I was furious as we thought we didn't raise her to behave that way. She was in honors and the top ranking of her class. I tried to talk to our daughter over why she would do that, and I was disturbed to learn that it was because she viewed the girl as trailer trash, which irritated me. The girl, from what I learned, was very smart and works hard. She bought her own beater car by herself and works 2 jobs. She considers the money She considered the money our family had as our family's money, so I put her in her place and told her that it was not her money, but her mom and I's money. I decided from that point that I was spoiling my daughter too much. We ended up taking away her latest iPhone and replacing it with an old iPhone 8 by switching phones with me. I know. We talk with a talk and text plan. We took away her family credit card, sold her car, and along with her MacBook and other luxuries.
Damn.
I also told her that she would have to find a job without nepotism and work at a minimum wage job like everyone else her age, because I was done giving her handouts if she was going to act entitled. Fast forward 2 months later. She was working at a fast food restaurant with us driving her around. She doesn't talk to me unless she needs something like a ride, but is very upset with me. My wife feels like this is going too far because it's affecting her social status and grades at school. However, I feel like she needs to be humbled because I can't have a daughter who will disrespect people because of the amount of money they have. I also feel that her behaving this way will affect her younger sister, 12 female, and how she perceives the world. Am I the a-hole for punishing my 16-year-old stepdaughter after we found out she was bullying a kid for being poor? And then there's some edits.
Okay.
Edit. I'd like to add that we took away her MacBook, but she still has access to the family computer in the house. Windows computer for school that is powerful and recently new. She still has a Wi-Fi access at the house. However, we did throttle her speed because high-speed internet is a privilege. She has fast enough internet to do homework and watch videos that aren't in HD like Netflix and stuff. She also isn't failing. She went from a straight A student to B's and has 2 A's, which I still find great. Edit number 2. He wanted to clarify things. We are upper middle class, not multimillionaires or anything, but we live comfortably. She is practically my daughter, as I've raised her since she was 4, and her real father walked out on her when she was 2. My wife helps me run my business, and we both agree on punishments. We came to an agreement that would make decisions with her on things. We did talk with my family and had to apologize to the girl at school. With the family, like the other girl's family. And we made her apologize to the girl at school. She was required to do 5 hours of community service by the school due to the school's no bullying policy. We also didn't force her to get a job. She wanted to get a job to get money so she could hang out with her friends and buy the things she wanted. We just cut her from a $15 an hour receptionist job for a non-nepotism job. Mm-hmm. We also warned her that if her grades become too unstable, she would be forced to quit her job and focus on school because she doesn't need extracurricular activities outside of school. She needs to focus on her education.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree with all of that.
Dude, this dad is a king.
Dude, he went hard.
He did. Like, as he kept listing more and more, like, things that they took away from her. He's like, this is a privilege. This is a privilege. This, like, calling, oh, man. Especially because he's, like, because he's an immigrant child.
Yeah.
Like, oh, man, that would have hit hard.
Yeah. Like you're torturing someone that came up like me.
Yeah.
And I've worked hard, and look at where I'm at, and like everyone else can, even if you don't make it to a certain level of like finances or whatever, nothing warrants anyone making fun of you for like
exactly
for where you are at any point in your life.
And it sounds like this guy is like super successful, but like moving up any kind of like economic class is such an accomplishment. Like people almost don't get to do that. You know what I mean? Like that is such like you take so much pride. Like this man has his own business. You know what I mean? He's an immigrant child, so he's probably either first generation or was an immigrant.
Second.
Yeah, second. But yeah, like this. Oh man, this freaking idiot girl. Like,
yeah, the only thing that I was gonna say is like, oh, I hope that they both agree on the punishment, and then he clarified that they do. Yeah.
And then the wife just is like, oh, maybe, oh man,
because of what she said.
What the wife situation was like, maybe we're going too hard because it's affecting her social status.
That was stupid.
You don't think the other girl's social status was affected by this freaking loser girl relentlessly bullying her? Because
if she's bullying her, then other people might want to jump on the bandwagon or might.
She's like a popular. It sounds like
Yeah, now we're cool. Oh yeah, we can make fun of her. So everyone's making her
family
feel lower or something. Dude, this girl was balling, dude.
16 years old, had a car handed to her, family credit card, $15 an hour cushy receptionist job,
brand new phone, MacBook, all the fast internet, do whatever you want. I like that they're like, if your grades keep dropping, you're gonna have to quit your job.
Yeah. Now you're not gonna have money to hang out with your friends.
Exactly.
Screw your social status.
Yeah, exactly. No, I think that I would also not play around with that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, there's levels to what your kids are doing and how you punish them.
Torturing her.
Yeah, but exactly.
Yeah. You just like because it'd be horrible if they were like, oh, you're not allowed to. Because I feel like it's dumb when parents are just like, oh, you're grounded. You're not allowed to leave your room for 3 months. It's like that's not doing anything, and this feels like almost torturous. Like this is just weird.
So the only thing that I would say on those two things that I can think of right now is that there needs to be a plan for her to redeem herself, right? I don't think they should do all of that. This isn't an
indefinite punishment.
Yeah, I'm not saying like, okay, at some point you don't have to have that job anymore and I'll hire you again.
But maybe on her car
I think there's got to be, something. There's just got to be something where she can also learn that like, hey, look, I made a mistake, but like I can improve. I can rectify the mistake that I made, and then I can... get some, I don't know. There's I feel like there's a lesson there where she also needs to see that she can, that even though she made a mistake, she can recover from those mistakes. So I feel like there should be some kind of plan for...
Yeah, my thought would be like, okay, like, fine, you want your car back? Like, you have to, whatever, like, for example, or your MacBook, like, you pay us back for your Mac. And, like, obviously, if I'm that parent, hopefully I would be like, I don't really need this money. I can put it away in savings. But she's paying us back for her MacBook, like, earning it back. Or the car or something. You know what I mean?
Yes.
With her minimum wage job that she's not working.
I also, that, and I also think the second part that I was going to say is, like, because he said like, oh, she doesn't talk to me anymore unless she really needs something from me or whatever. I think that like that's unhealthy, and there needs to be a lot of conversations between the dad, the mom, and the daughter. All three, and then also the dad and the daughter. Like, hey, look, let's go out to get some ice cream. I want to talk to you about that. Like, it's not only about the punishment. It's not always about 100%. The punishment. It's about the punishment, but then also the kid understanding that what they did it was wrong. Yeah. Because you can't just like get them in trouble and then it's like, okay, well, but I don't. Okay, I guess I did. I shouldn't have done that, but like I don't really understand. Yeah. Like there needs to be some education to why what she did. Why. What am I trying to say? They need to educate her on why it was so wrong, what she did, and the consequences of what she was doing, what those consequences could have been to the other girl. Yeah. So that she starts understanding, oh crap, this was really wrong. I really shouldn't have done this. And now how do I kind of work my way back into like...
I think it would go a long way for the dad to share his experience with like being like an immigrant child. You know what I mean? Yeah. And like how hard it is to like work for your stuff. And like even talking about like this is how much money you're making now. Like how, like imagine how long it would have taken you to buy that beater car that girl has.
Yeah, exactly. Like that, like there needs to be conversations with her. There needs
to be like a moment of realization for that girl.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah, because I mean, I don't know, like when you're like a kid like that, because I always felt like the bullying over like poverty thing was like a something that only happened in movies, you know what I mean? Right. And because like when I was growing up, like I grew up in like, in Yuma, and like there was a lot of poverty there too, you know what I mean? So it was just like it was probably like so much so that all of the schools had free lunches because we were below, like on an average, we were below the poverty line. So all the high schools had free lunch. You know what I mean? There was like a 40% poverty rate in any school that I went to. So no one ever made fun of, at least that I ever saw. And I ran in a lot of kind of different groups. No one ever made fun of anybody about money.
Yeah, I feel like I didn't really experience that.
Not even just to me, but I'm saying I never.
Yeah. I don't really remember seeing that.
Yeah, but then I remember like I brought that up, like so I always just thought that was like fake, and I was like, oh, that's so dumb. Like this is such a dumb movie thing. And I remember like I had like a genuine like moment of realization when I mentioned that to my dad one time, and he was like, my dad grew up really really poor, and he like explained to me that people would make fun of him for that stuff all the time, and I was just like, oh my gosh, like what a like privileged world that I like had, like a worldview that I had, that I was like, I just thought it was like something that only happened in movies.
Yeah, no, my dad is the same way. My dad lost his dad when he was like 6 or 7. Yeah. So they grew up really, really poor after my grandfather died. And so, yeah, he experienced that. Like that was like really bad. Yeah. But I think maybe also wherever, maybe if you go to a a school that the majority of the students' parents
or at or below the poverty
no, I was
line
gonna say make more money, like a very
yeah.
affluent neighborhood where the parents and the kids and they all have a lot more money, and then you are the minority, then I feel like that's usually what happens. At least
100%.
that's what's portrayed in the movies, and I think that's probably more accurate. If you're like, hey, well, I'm kind of like,
yeah, look at her car, and everybody else is driving around like Beamers and stuff. You know
yeah,
what
I mean,
yeah.
you know, you're like, oh yeah, because you're on the only way you got in here is for the scholarship.
Yeah, you get free lunches or whatever.
Or like all that stuff. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Have you seen the one? There's this one girl. I can't remember where she's from, but I think it's the one that she was on the Ellen DeGeneres show, and then she was also on the she came out also on like You Got Talent or X Factor or something like that. She's this like white girl, blonde, kind of chubby, and then she like reads super fast. Like she can read.
Trisha Paytas?
Is that her name?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Okay, I think she was on a podcast, and after she would say a sentence, yeah.
By the way, that's the Frenemies podcast. If you've never watched that, you need to like go back. It's obviously dead. It died.
Why?
They're
the ones that you told me that they broke up.
So much drama.
They're the ones that when we first started this show. When we first started this amazing 445 subscriber show, you mentioned we were talking about a show that you said that they broke up because of like this drama. That's it.
Yeah.
Okay. After the show, after we cut this episode, I want you to tell me again.
It's so insane. Yeah.
So yeah, she's like, whatever she's like, yeah, we went over there to go at last night. And he's like,
and she's like, what?
She's like, what? He's like, you know that after every sentence you go, you know, and she's like, what are you talking about? Like she had no idea.
Trisha Paytas
so funny.
Is such a character.
I think she's the girl, right?
She's 100% the girl.
The one, okay.
She's such a character. She's been on so many shows and stuff. Like I don't know how this girl's famous.
I think I saw her for the very first time on Ellen DeGeneres.
Oh my gosh.
Maybe I want to say, I don't know, 5 years ago.
2016, like 2014, 2016 was like peak Trisha Paytas YouTube. Like
that long ago?
Like yeah. I mean, she's still on the
she had a
internet.
channel, yeah.
I was saying peak Trisha Paytas YouTube.
I meant I guess I meant like because she could have been like already really big on YouTube before she got on Ellen.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't even know how long it's been, but like I just thought for sure it's been 5-6 years, so like, that would put it in 2017 if I was even guessing that correctly.
She probably was on there before because I feel like 2016 she was like posting a video like once a week of her crying on the kitchen floor was her brand. So like once a week she would be having a mental breakdown sitting on her kitchen floor. She did it so often that she just had a setup in her kitchen
to get
where
ready
she would just turn on the camera and just sob on the floor, and like she'd be like sobbing and like eating like chicken on the floor.
But was she doing it for funsies, or there was some real stuff going on?
She's unwell. She's severely unwell.
Even after the laughs.
this girl has identified as a chicken nugget. Like she's severely unwell. Like this girl has some problems. She like had like problems with like meth and stuff, and she was like,
what?
Yeah, she's like bipolar.
Damn.
Yeah. I think that was she's gotten like a million diagnoses.
That's hardcore.
She did a full podcast with Dr. Drew, like the psychiatrist
that goes. Oh no, okay, no, I'm totally confused. I was like, because I know they bring
like
on
a TV psychiatrist. Yeah.
But I thought it was like the one Dr. Drew was the one that they bring onto shows sometime.
Yeah,
he is right. Yeah.
He went on.
Okay, dude.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to explain that whole frenemies lore to you again after the podcast.
All right. Cool. Well, another one for the books. What was it? Number 43.
Mm-hmm.
Damn, 7 more. At the end of this month, we're gonna be at 50.
Ooh.
That's gonna be a cool milestone.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us on another episode, and this is gonna be up by the time this is gonna be up Tuesday morning. As of today's recording, it's Sunday.
Yeah.
So you guys, I hope you guys will be happy to wake up on a Tuesday.
Be able to
and
listen
see this
to it
episode
on your way to work.
Yes, and we will have another one out on Thursday. We promise you. That is our promise. See you on the next episode.
Peace.
Peace.